Hello. If we look at the latest statistics on the world's population, we'll find that our number is approaching 8 billion people, and approximately more than half of them are connected to the internet. You can communicate with these 4 billion people while sitting in your place. This matter has made it very difficult to comprehend that there are individuals who, despite the progress we are living in, still live like our ancient ancestors thousands of years ago. Many of them have no idea at all about the existence of an outside world in the first place. Despite the discovery of a large number of isolated tribes, we still have an unknown number of tribes living in the pre-modern era. Welcome, I'm Mind Matrix Files. But before we begin, if you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe and activate the bell so that our videos reach you first. Let's begin. "97% of the primitive and largely isolated tribes in the world today are located in South America, specifically in the Amazon rainforest. More than 100 tribes still live with their distinctive rituals and unique cultures, which, if you look at them from a distance, will make you feel like you're watching a documentary about the Stone Age. There is incredible diversity among these tribes. We find large tribes like the Tucano, whose members reach 50,000, and other tribes consisting of only one person. In the 80s of the last century, after attempts by some governments to cut down the Amazon trees, an entire tribe was wiped out, leaving only one person who remained living in isolation and solitude, completely refusing any contact with any stranger. He was called the Man of the Hole. Among the most famous tribes in the Amazon rainforest region is the Yanomami tribe. The isolated Yanomami tribe in South America lives in the rainforests and mountains of northern Brazil and southern Venezuela. Like most tribes on the continent, it is likely that their inhabitants migrated via the Bering Strait between Asia and America about 15,000 years ago, and slowly made their way to South America. The population of this tribe is about 38,000 people, and the area of land they live on in Brazil is more than 90,000 square kilometers, which is almost twice the size of Switzerland. In Venezuela, they live in an area estimated at 80,000 square kilometers. It is remarkable that the people of the tribe live in large circular houses called llanos, or chabonos, which can sometimes accommodate more than 400 residents. The central area in the middle of the houses is used for holding celebrations, festivals, and special rituals. The Yanomami people, like most Amazonian peoples, are skilled in all forms of hunting. But in the Yanomami tribe, the situation is slightly different. No hunter among them eats the meat of the prey he has caught. What happens is that the hunters exchange prey among themselves, and each hunter and his family eat the prey of another hunter. As for the women of the tribe, their task is to cultivate crops, which account for approximately 80% of the tribe's entire food. In addition, they gather nuts, shellfish, larvae, insects, and wild honey. Thanks to their strong knowledge of plants, they can use more than 500 plants for food, medicine, and building houses. In 1974, one of the most primitive tribes in the world was discovered, the Korowai tribe, which until 1974 was completely isolated from the outside world. The Korowai people live in a forest area about 150 kilometers from the Arafura Sea in southeastern West Papua, in the Indonesian province of Papua. The tribe's population is 3,000 people, and the tribe is still considered completely independent today. Most of the inhabitants are skilled in hunting, produce axes from stone, make salt, and have extensive knowledge of agriculture. The first form of money to enter this tribe came through missionaries. If we talk about the way of life within the tribe, one of the most well-known things about them is that they were able to build their houses in trees and were completely skilled at this. The heights of the houses sometimes reach more than 30 meters above the ground, which is the height of a 10-story building. These houses are not just simple houses. Sometimes they are divided into 2 or 3 rooms. One of the strangest things you might hear about this tribe is that they are cannibals. On North Sentinel Island, located in the Indian Ocean, lives the strangest tribe on the face of the earth, the Sentinelese tribe. Its age is estimated at 60,000 years, and the tribe has managed to isolate itself completely from the outside world to the extent that the number of its members is still unknown. However, researchers have made an estimate of the numbers, saying that it ranges from 40 to 500 people, no more. The reason why researchers are unable to confirm this information is the extreme violence of the tribe. Anyone who thinks of approaching the island is immediately attacked. The tribe members live among the dense forests, which has increased the difficulty of determining their lives, culture, and language. However, all we know for sure about the Sentinelese tribe are 3 things: the savagery and violence of the tribe, that they live by fishing and gathering fruits, and that they know nothing about agriculture. Despite the violence of the tribe, this has not prevented researchers and some curious individuals from trying to learn more about the Sentinelese tribe, but unfortunately, most attempts have ended in failure, and some have even ended bloodily. Among these incidents is the one that occurred in the summer of 1867, when the Indian merchant ship Nineveh was wrecked, and about 86 passengers and 20 crew members reached the shore. The next day, according to the survivors, they were subjected to a brutal attack by members of the tribe. Among the strange incidents is that in 2004, after the tsunami, the Indian government decided to send helicopter flights over the island to check on the tribe members. However, the tribe members began to throw arrows at the aircraft when it approached the ground. Some people say that the reason for the violence and savagery of the tribe members against strangers is an incident that occurred in 1880 when a British naval officer decided to take 2 adults and 4 children from the tribe and transfer them to the city of Port Blair. However, after a short period, the 2 adults died due to immunodeficiency disease, and the 4 children returned to the island. It is expected that everyone on the island thought they had been killed, and this is the reason for the intense hostility towards any stranger. In the end, let's ask a question. Why are the primitive tribes we talked about, and many others, still living in isolation and away from means of communication in light of this development? The answer simply lies in the fact that most governments of the countries where these tribes are located have decided to leave them alone. This decision did not come overnight. Indeed, many attempts were made before to communicate. But unfortunately, most, if not all, ended in disasters. In 1492, when Europeans began to arrive in large numbers in the New World after Columbus's alleged discovery, what happened was that in less than 150 years, nearly 80% to 95% of the indigenous population died. The main reason was the spread of diseases such as measles and smallpox that the Europeans carried. And of course, the indigenous people, who had lived isolated from the world for thousands of years, had no developed immunity to resist these diseases. In addition to this, of course, the confrontations that occurred with the tribes at that time always ended in violence, which led some governments later to decide not to communicate directly with the isolated tribes. All they do is occasionally send aerial surveys to check on their numbers and conditions. Furthermore, some international organizations, such as Survival International and the FUNAI Foundation affiliated with the Brazilian government, and others, strive to protect vulnerable tribes from any external interference, whether by individuals or governments. That's it. We're done. Who made it this far? All of you who did are the best people. Give us a like before you leave so we know how many people reach the end. And don't forget, if you have a suggestion for an episode, write it to us in the comments. Peace.